Hi, Taurus, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your April 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Taurus be affected by the April 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the April 2021 full moon? How will Taurus be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. What's really cool about this moon is that it's called the pink moon. The Native Americans named it so because it is when the flowers start to come up. So I thought that was just absolutely enchanting. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. And spirit guides, angels. Fantastic. Okay. Now the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena and the public self. We're going to see how the tarot correlates to the moon and to everything that's going on here during this time. This full moon is in Scorpio, so it will be it's also powered by Scorpios, of course, ruled by Pluto. So this is the process of metamorphosis and evolution of self, and also the death and rebirth and regeneration of what we want and what we desire and how we're moving forward. So it really is just an absolutely beautiful moon. So let's look at the inner self. We are crowned with the Two of Cups, so that's unity, that's love, that's coming together. Then we have the Six of Wands, that's celebration. The Five of Pentacles, that makes sense. This is the poverty mentality, but it's so interesting. So we have Hierophant, which is, of course, you, Taurus, in the major arcana coming forward, all right? But you have the repeat of the number 5. So it's taking from the poverty mentality, which we could be going through in any aspect of our life. It could be within money, it could be within relationships, it could be spiritually, it could be, sexually, it could be anyway, absolutely possible that we feel like we have poverty within our lives. But that's not where we're supposed to be. As Taurians, we are supposed to be in places of prosperity, but it can be also around institutions. It can feel like the institution has failed us, or that we don't really fit into the institution that maybe we thought we belonged to. So here, there is this rethinking, reconfiguration of how we're moving forward and how we fit within the world that we might have thought that we were supposed to fit in. And we might be like, maybe it doesn't have to be so rigid. And there is this beautiful sense, this beautiful connection also with the new moon, which is in Taurus. So the new moon is on the 11th of May. And we'll find that there's this profound connection around the 11th of May to the prosperity of what we want, to the place that we want to be. Now, our hearts here, we have the High Priestess. I'm not surprised at all. So we have the repeat of the number 2. There is this strong sense of unity, of coming together. This is a time where if we were raised to think, I'm in it by myself. I have to handle everything on my own. Nobody else can shoulder my burdens for me. This is a time where we start to realize, maybe I don't have to handle it all by myself. And it doesn't mean that we have to have a tribe around us or a clan around us or anything like that. At this time, we can be building one. But what it means is that we start to connect with spirit in a beautiful way. We can also start to connect with other people. We can find that we have this firm base. And it's like, wow, I need to connect with these people more, especially after, the year that we've been through where we can feel disjointed. We then have the Knight of Cups. So this is water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. This really does connect us with the full moon in Scorpio. This becomes our warrior. This becomes our passion forward. We then have the 5. So we have now 3 5s. So divinity is telling us that change is coming and there is this sense of freedom. But there is also this sense of chaos that comes forward. And then here we are once again being represented by the Pentacles in the Minor Arcana, with the Page of Pentacles being a student of the prosperity. We can even be connecting either with a child who is also an earth sign energy or with the child of ourselves. The way that we are learning, developing, the way that we had learned, developed, things that had scarred us, things that had hurt us, they start to come up. And it's like, oh, okay. Why? Why can be the first question. But it's like, yeah, because it's the heartbreaks and pains and disappointments that have kept us held back. That's exactly what divinity was saying. Kept us held back in our emotional lives, okay, in the risks that we take, in the ability to move forward that we believe that we have. And I love that these 2s, of course, lead to the progression of 3. The 7 of Cups, dreams, wishes, desires, temperance, okay, which is Sagittarius energy, which is very interesting because the next full moon on the 26th of May is in Sagittarius. So we have that strong connection to Sagittarius energy. Also, both of these moons are super moons, but the moon in May, the full moon in May, is also in eclipse. So this is triply powerful, during this time. You could say doubly powerful, but in and of itself, being a full moon is power. And then it leads us to the 8 of Wands. Things start to change. It's like ready or not, here it comes. But it's also things start to move forward. Things start to evolve. Things start to progress. And we might not be ready for this change because in one hand, in our inner selves, it's like, okay, we know that we are, just looking at it as the Hierophant, we know that we are this developed, prosperous, individual. People look up to us. This is the energy of the inner self. And then the energy of the heart is, I still have so much to learn. Am I moving forward the right way? We have so many questions. And there can be this sense of doubt and not realizing that we are as prosperous as we are. So that is really interesting. I want to see what the moon has to say just right off the bat. Just giving it a quick look as to how this energy is impeding us, is working with us, is, giving us ideas. So how does this moon work? And we'll also, of course, end the reading with a talk with Luna, with the talk with the moon, to see how things move forward and see where it is that we are and how it is that we're developing. Okay. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Oh, goodness. Okay. And then right there in the center. Okay. I know it's sloppy. I will fix it in a moment. Okay. So we're going to move this over. We have extremes, which makes perfect sense. Extremes, patience, and surrender. Assessing. Sovereignty, but this is the Queen of the Moon, okay? And then we have realizations. And then we have here the masculine, the lunar god. So we have the Queen of the Moon and we have the lunar god coming forward during this time. This is a time of connection. This is a time of power. This is a time of what can seem like two polarizing energies coming forward, pushing us in a direction that we hadn't thought we would be heading towards, we didn't imagine being. This is a sense of power and coming together and insights and ideas and in creation and tearing some things apart in order so that there can be new growth and new understanding of self, new expression of where we want to be and how we want to move forward, this is a time of extremes. Okay, this is a time where we can feel pulled one way or the other. This is a time where things could be super intense. This is a time where we can find that our emotions run high. And that makes perfect sense. It's a full moon, it's a super moon. Emotions do run high during this time. So it leads us to needing to embrace patience. We need to be patient with ourselves. If we're not patient with ourselves, if we're not patient with the progression of our path, and we always think, I should be doing better, I should be pushing further, what we do is we disconnect ourselves from the power and the beauty that the moon has to offer, but also that we have to offer within this life, that, we are learning and we discover, and we all just become about the ego, and we become about the I, and it's enough with the I. It's enough with the sense of this is what I want when I want it, and I can behave badly if it makes me get what I want. It's like, no. Now it is time to look at things and be patient as we progress. Be calmer, be more serene within our soul. Embrace beautiful. And as we embrace the beautiful, we start to surrender. We start to surrender to deeper knowledge. We start to surrender to the pattern, to this rhythm of life that we are being drawn towards. We start to surrender to this beauty of soul and of self that we hadn't realized. And it has us assessing. It has us assessing situations. It has us assessing our life and ourselves and our institutions and the way that we want to move forward. And then it brings us to sovereignty. It brings us to majesty. It brings us to brilliance. It also brings us to feminine energy, but also the feminine energy of power, the feminine energy of ruling this lunar cycle, the ebb and the flow, but also the sense that this is what life is. Life is the ebb and the flow. It is the birth and the growth and the death and the rebirth and the cycle and the understanding and the deeper knowledge and the deeper seeking. And it will always be this. And we look at this and we look at the moon as the symbolism of the cycle of our life. We grow, we wax, we wane, we are. And that's going to be very powerful during this time. If we even just find ourselves meditating on the progression of the moon, on the way forward, on the progression of self, that holds power to it. And then the realizations, like all of a sudden, there's knowledge, there's this sense of unlocking the door, but also realizing that we're the key. We're the key. We're the little small person that's walking through into the great unknown, and we hold more because we can hold the memories of the past. Yes, of our past, of the past that we inherited, of the traumas, the hurts, the pains, the disappointments, the struggles, the beauties, the jubilees. We hold all of that in our DNA memory. And we also hold what we want for ourselves, the life that we want to live. And we start to unlock this beautiful balance, this beautiful serenity and contemplation and understanding of self. And it leads us with the sacred masculine, with the lunar god coming forward and the masculine energies, like it's time to do. As much as this is a time of contemplation, this is a time of action and doing and seeing and becoming and focusing. So that is just a beautiful way to start this as we start talking about what this moon has to offer and the ideas of this moon. So what's really interesting here before we even start is that our heart is crowned by the high priestess. The high priestess holds the moon upon her head. That is part of her crown right here. So the high priestess has, the Torah, has the cross, has the moon, has the crescent, has the waters behind her, and the pomegranates, thank you, that are moving her forward. So she has all these sacred symbolisms of religion, of power, of understanding, of identity, of self, and of soul. And it moves us then to know that this moon right now, because also the night is within our heart, this moon moves our heart. And first and foremost, Taurus, what we tend to forget about ourselves is that we are sensual beings first. We tend to think, I'm earthly being, my feet are firmly planted on the ground, I'm an earthly being, I am logic, I am everything that needs to be done, right? But we aren't. We're beautiful sensual beings. And yes, we have that aspect of our personality that comes in. We can be bullheaded and we can be, the greatest workers possible. But if we forget that we are sensual, that we need to embrace the erotic within life. And it's not just the erotic in sex, but it is the erotic in in being, the discovery, the pleasure, the beauty, the magnificent of the world, instead of it being dulled by the same old routine that never, ever ends. So it leads us to the divine right here. It says, surrender to the divine, because that is where the power is. And that is truth. It is time to surrender to the divine, because power moves us forward, because we can be guided towards more if we take our ego out of it. And the ego, it's such a hard thing to take out of anything. And then it leads us to the full moon in Scorpio. And the full moon in Scorpio says it's time to release negativity. Now, this full moon, as I said before, it is the pink moon. It is named by the Native Americans because of the flowers that come to life. It is a supermoon, which says emotions are running high, which we can see here most definitely, and which we saw with the extremes. Emotions run high. And it's because this intensifies everything. It brings up issues of trust and control and power. And it also brings up, our inner cycle of growth. It connects us to the Scorpio cycle ruled by Pluto of death, rebirth, regeneration, this metamorphosis of understanding. It's time to release our resistance to change. And that's what this moon really calls us to do. It says it's time to release negativity. Well, it's time to release what keeps us bogged down, what keeps us weighted, like Marley in A Christmas Carol, walking around with the chains. What weighs us down, it is time to release. Because it's time to overcome our limitations. It's time to look at things and say, it is not cast in stone. It isn't. It isn't cast in stone. It isn't meant to, I am not meant to be punished my whole entire life. I am not meant to be, to be weighed down. And it can't even be, we can take it one step further. If we are the type of person who sacrifices for everybody else, if we are the type of person who has said, this is my responsibility, and, as being the Hierophant, represented by the Hierophant, we take responsibility astoundingly seriously. And if we fall off alignment with our responsibilities, that's when we can see Taurians get into real, kind of sticky wickets with things, because we have our responsibility and then we have our rebellion come forward. But that is a different story, yes? So here we have this sense of moving forward towards this powerful understanding, and it's time to overcome the limitations that have held us back, that have kept us from where we need to be responsible, from where we need to be to uphold our duty. But also, we need to know when we are losing ourselves to responsibility, to duty, to what everybody else needs. And yet, what I need is no longer important. And I see this a lot with people, with families. We become our responsibilities. And our responsibilities just keep cycling every day. And here, there is this sense of, I need my responsibilities. We need them. We seek them out, the Taurus. But we also need to take time for us, to make time for us. It's going to be so important. This moon clearly shows us what we need to let go of in order to grow. And it puts a spotlight on our fears of what has been holding us back. So here we have attraction with the supermoon. We are attracting to ourselves through meditation, through contemplation, through the act of existing, what needs to be embraced and what needs to be let go, what needs to be understood and what cannot be. And so it starts to move us in a very interesting direction. Now, this is also a time where during this full moon in Scorpio, okay? This full moon is square Saturn in Aquarius, with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus conjunct Uranus. So the Sun is in Taurus, right? So we'll just start there. So we have the Sun in Taurus. This means our good old trait of bringing deeper meaning through maturity, through, emotional maturity, through understanding, through contemplation comes forward, through taking up the burden, carrying it, and moving towards our goals. That's going to be something that's very strong within us because of the Sun, right? It's in our sign. But Saturn, okay, in Aquarius, Saturn calls us to show up and be self-responsible. So this is a time where we'll think, I have to do it all by myself. That's the last thing that we need to do, okay? We start off with unity. In our inner selves, we need unity. Even if we say, I don't have that unity. Even if you're saying, Dane, I would love to have a sense of tribe, sense of connection, sense of whatever, community, clan, I don't have that. It is building that connection with divinity. And then it's letting divinity guide us. The divinity saying, you know what, go have a coffee out. Go have a tea out. Go do things. Step out of the door. Open up the world and start. There's going to be this urge that leads us forward, because the Saturn energy of self-reliance, you have to do everything by yourself, is balanced by Aquarius, which brings self-contemplative energy, and also the sense of the eccentric and the beautiful, and the I'm going to let myself be me. Now the Sun in Taurus, yes, it brings deeper emotional maturity, connection, desire, but we cannot fall into the rut and the routine that never ends. So we have to be mindful of that. Mercury rules our urge for communication, and Venus rules our love and our romance, which is, of course, obvious, but it also rules our private emotional side. So the inner self, the heart self, has a deep connection during this time with Venus. And Uranus is connected to all of these. Uranus heightens the disruptions in our world. So the disruptions around communication, the disruptions around love, around love relationships, or love for ourselves, our private emotional side, and what we desire. Everything that's bothering us starts to kind of rise to the surface, and it's annoying. It can feel like getting a pimple, right? You're looking at it and you're like, oh, this is not cute, and we can get upset and annoyed and think, no, this has to change. And what divinity is going to tell us during this time is it's coming to the surface whether you like it or not. So be ready for it. It leads us then to the new moon, which is, of course, always telling us a new start is coming. This is a beginning. And with the new moon in Taurus, prosperity lies ahead. Prosperity lies ahead as we remember our emotional self. Prosperity lies ahead as we look at what is intrinsically us and what isn't. And we start to learn how to celebrate ourselves. So around the 11th of May, we're going to start to see that we're just not content a little bit. We have this sense of wanting to express. Now, if things are really going well, it can be a sense of, I need to follow this more. I need to make this happen more. What we need to do is kind of step back and let things be more organic, not go in for the kill all the time, because we're going to have a tendency to do that. We're going to think, if it's really good, I'm going to chase it down. I'm going to achieve more and more and more and more and more until all joy is gone. And if it is really bad, we're going to think, I just have to work at this. I just have to break down that barrier, go after what I need and keep on pushing. So we need to kind of step back just a bit, because what we're doing is we're running away from the poverty mentality instead of looking at it and saying, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you plaguing me? Why are you following me? What is this? Why is this a part of my life? It moves us to the full moon in Sagittarius, which says, look at the bigger picture, and conclusions are within reach, because this full moon is also an eclipse. So conclusions are within reach. It's like once everything becomes dark, things start to become clear, our eyes start to adjust. Look at the bigger picture. We're going to want to take aim, right? Go right for the bullseye, to take aim with the arrow. But we're also going to want to look at the bigger picture of what's desired, of what's wanted and what's needed, and not get caught up in the endless minutia. Now, our spirit animals for this time, for April, are the wolf spirit and the hawk spirit. The wolf spirit says, turn knowledge into wisdom, and the hawk spirit says, let spirit be your guide. So we're turning knowledge into wisdom. We are embracing a sharper intellect, a deeper sense of connection, but also a deeper sense of connection as to where we stand within our world, where we are in conjunction with the pack. Okay, are we the lone wolf? Because remember, we tend to romanticize the lone wolf, but the lone wolf is the one in the most peril. The lone wolf is the one who doesn't have anybody to answer their call. So here we long for that sense of connection. And we take the knowledge that we have accumulated through living and make it into the wisdom that we live by. There's a strong sense of need of freedom and to embrace our instincts, to kind of go with the gut feel. The hawk spirit says, let spirit be our guide. Well, yes, the spirit is to be our guide because the hawk spirit is the messenger of the spirit world. It promotes power and focus. It promotes clear vision and increases our spiritual awakening. Now, come May, the spirit animals of May are the beaver and the elk spirit. And of course, the only horned animal I had was the antelope. So it's going to do a very good job to stand in. The beaver spirit says here, lay a solid foundation. Why? Because if the foundation is weak, if the foundation is set on sand, everything will erode. Everything will shift. Everything will change. The antelope spirit here, which is standing in for the elk, says life is speeding up. And we see that with the Eight of Wands. So with the beaver spirit, it says that it is time to trust in our creativity and its accomplishments through cooperation. It's not going to be a time that we stand alone. That's why Spirit was warning against the lone wolf. It's not a time that we stand alone. It's a time that we come together. Okay, accomplishments through cooperation are going to be so important, and this is a time where we're motivated to jumpstart, to just kind of go for it, to go after it. And it also brings us then, I'm jumping ahead, to the elk spirit, which is life is speeding up. Now, the elk spirit represents we're entering into a time of plenty. And everything you need, you will get. Not everything you want. That's a huge difference. Everything you need, you will get. Not everything you want, you will get. So, of course, we're going to look at the chakra energy, which I was so into the moon, completely overlooked. Let's see here, the chakra energy for Taurus for the April 2021 full moon. It's universal light. It's a light that shines on us, through us, with us. This is the soul star chakra. So letting that universal light shine is going to be the hardest part of us. It's letting us connect. There's going to be a part of us that feels so separate, that says, no, I'm good. I got this. I can figure it all out myself. But to have that universal light, to have that sense that we are all connected, we are all intertwined, is going to be the most powerful thing. So a meditation on the soul star chakra, which is located 6 inches above the crown, this sense of connection, this sense of understanding. And let's see here, with the energy we need to be mindful of, the energy that Taurus needs to be mindful of during this full moon. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Oh, that's so interesting. It's the Aquarius energy. So it's the energy that's brought up, that's squared, okay? That has Saturn in it, okay? So Saturn is in Aquarius. And this is the self-contemplative, this is the eccentric energy, this is the sense of wanting to create more. We have to be mindful of it, because what Spirit is showing me here is that we can have a sense of being very depressed, very sad, very overwhelmed, very much like I'm not moving in the right direction because I want to accomplish so much. We can also have people, embracing their dreams and their desires and trying to put their reality onto our reality, and it's just not going to fit. So we have to be mindful of that. Now, we start off with love and with unity, with connection, with contemplation, with understanding. The Two of Cups is the minor arcana Lover's card. There's a sense of deep healing love that is coming, and that we need to embrace during this time. This isn't going to be a time of littleness, okay? This isn't going to be a time of maybes. This is going to be a time of my soul needs and I desire, and I'm moving forward, and uncertainties and power and expression. And I just feel this weight coming off of the heart chakra that can move us to tears during this time. It can be so freeing. It can be so powerful. And it moves us to be able to celebrate. Why? Because we're connecting. Now, it can be, as the moon showed us at the very beginning, it can be connecting the lunar god with the lunar queen. So it can be connecting the moon male aspect with the moon female aspect, and this beautiful coming together of the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine, the sacred way of being and describing and embracing the self. And it moves us into this sense of celebration. And it also tells us it's time to celebrate us. Instead of seeing our gifts as, this is what I can do, it's really saying, this is my gift, this is my power, this is the person I am, and the power that moves within me. And it becomes beautiful. It becomes a way to celebrate ourselves, a way to move us forward, a way to gain understanding, to gain insights, to gain ideas. And what's so interesting is, like, both of these moons are super moons, right? So everything's really supercharged. Now, the moon that was before this in Libra was almost a super moon. It was so close. It was almost there that some people said, oh, it's a supermoon. But it wasn't quite yet. So here, it's like we have been revving up towards this. And we thought last lunar cycle, like, oh my gosh, this has all the answers. This I understand. And then things just kind of fell short a bit. And so we have this disappointment. The Five of Pentacles is like, there's security. Now, it can be that we've been failed, that the places that were supposed to help us, they didn't, or they couldn't. And it can be that we felt out on our own for so long, and that it's been so overwhelming. But with the poverty mentality, this is also a breaking of cycles. So often, we could have lived like this for so long. The sense of, I'm surviving. I'm struggling. I have to fight to get to where I want to be. I have to fight to achieve what I desire. And it's like, it's time to stop fighting. It's time to walk through the doors. It's time to say, I belong here. We might have been proving something to ourselves. We might have been, trying to find different answers. But divinity is calling us home. And what this means is that we have to be true to ourselves. We just do. This is a time where we have to look at things and say, okay, what do I want and who am I? What is important to me and how am I moving forward? What is it that I desire and where is it that I want to be? I'm tired of being out in the cold. I'm tired of being overwhelmed. The Five of the Major Arcana, the Hierophant, this is tradition. This is prosperity. This is bounty. These are institutions. Now, it can be asking for help, which is never easy. It can also be that we've spent enough time out in the cold. We've spent enough time beating ourselves up, of having the pain and the hurt and the disappointment be such an intrinsic part of our lives. Now it's time to embrace who we truly are, where we truly want to be, how we are moving forward, what it is that we desire. We hold the keys. Well, we don't hold them. They're at our feet. They're a part of us to unlock, to realize. There's a sense of moving towards something greater. There's a sense of a feeling of belonging. Community is going to be so important during this time. If we don't have a community or, a family that we're really close to or friends and, we can feel out in the cold. Now, this can be a time where we start to really connect with divinity. And Taurus, I have to say, because you're represented by the Hierophant, your connection with divinity is powerful, it's intense, and it's beautiful. It is exactly what is needed. It is exactly what the soul desires. And there is a sense of once you connect, the world changes. Now, what I love here, and I just realized it, is that you have the Hierophant, right? The Pope. And then you have the High Priestess, which in one version of the tarot is called the female Pope, Pope Joan. There is a myth of her. Now, either she existed or she didn't, it does not matter. But there is this sense here of, again, you have the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine around the spiritual, which is what the moon represents. The moon represents the spiritual, the mysteries, and that's going to be the way that we come together in our sacred masculine and sacred feminine energy, in our powerful understanding. So it roots us in the public arena, in our inner selves, not the public arena, in our inner selves, and it crowns us in our heart. There is a mystery here. The Hierophant is seen. Okay, he has the people at his feet. He is seen. The High Priestess, she is not. Why? Because she doesn't want to be. She just does not need it. Okay? She is the mystery seeker. She is the one who does not want, compliments, false compliments. She doesn't want people to, think that she has all the answers. She wants to hand you the questions and make you work for it. She wants to, she wants to challenge you. She wants to push you. She wants to have you embrace a greater understanding. And it's not going to be because she just hands it to you. It's going to be something worked for. Okay, that's what she's about. She's about turning inward and pulling it out and breathing it into the world. And it will be painful and it will be overwhelming and it will be intense and it will be beautiful because it was fought for and worked for and and powerfully gotten. The high priestess, she is insight and she's wisdom. She's the veil being lifted from the world. And the world has many layers of veils, right? So we might have one reality shown to us, one way of seeing, understanding this empowerment. And then as we grow and we develop more, another veil is lifted, another veil is lifted over time. So we're always getting a greater, deeper, more powerful understanding of spirit and what we desire and how we want to move forward and where it is that we need to be. And the high priestess is this sense of there is more than you could ever have realized. Open up your eyes. Truth and justice come forward. And it's not the letter of the law, justice. It is the justice of soul. No, it is a little bit the letter of the law. But it's a letter of the spiritual law. And it moves us then to the Knight of Cups. Slowly and steadily moving forward into love, into the wisdom of this moon, fighting for what our hearts want, embracing the Scorpio aspect of death, rebirth, and regeneration. The sense that I am changing and I am evolving and I am moving forward in my relationships, in my life, and I am not the person that I was, and where we were is not where we're going. And this can be a death and rebirth together. This can be a way that things have changed and a power that moves us forward. There is beauty here. And the beauty is slow in coming, okay? The Knight of Cups is the second slowest moving knight. Now, be it the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight. So we like to move nice and slow. Steady, firmly, have a solid foundation, do everything correctly, look at things, be wise, diversify, and then embrace. And this is going to be what this brings us. This is going to bring us wisdom and insight and powerful truth. And it leads us then, as we slowly and steadily move forward in love, it brings us to chaos. It just does. It's like, excuse you? Like, what the heck is going on here? And what's so interesting is that we have the repeat of the number 5, right? We have the 5 of Pentacles, we have the 5 of Wands, so we have the poverty, we have the chaos, and then we have the balance that comes and says, harmony. Harmony is what is needed. We will never achieve perfection. This is a time where we're going to want to have perfection on the table like never before. We're going to be like, this is what's needed, this is what I desire, this is, everything. And then if we step back, it's like, oh, maybe I was fighting for the wrong thing. Maybe I'm not getting where I truly want to be. The 5 of Wands can be arguments within the home. It can be chaos for the sake of chaos. It can also be within work, relationships. It's like chaos just for the sake of chaos. It can be that somebody was like itching to have a fight and you're the person that they're going to have a fight with because they just wanted one. Okay, that's one way. But this is also internal chaos, especially when it's with the heart. My heart has been broken. I've lost everything. Financially things have gotten so hard. What do I just meditate this away? No. Sometimes we walk through hell. And every step we take, we know we're walking through hell. It just is what it is. And we don't believe that there is hope. And because we can be beaten down so far, we don't believe that we have talents. We don't believe that we have dreams anymore. And what this is a fight to remember the passion, a fight to remember the beauty, or a fight to know that there is more than hell to be lived. And then that moves us to the Page of Pentacles. That moves us to being a student of ourselves, of our prosperity, of what it is that we desire, of holding up what we treasure and saying, this is my perfect. And our perfect will always change because we as human beings, we're fickle beings, and we will always push out our prosperity. Our goal will be, I want to make this much money so I'm able to pay my bills, and that would be awesome. And then when we reach that goal, and let's say we're making a little bit more money, it's like, oh wow, I want to make this much money, and then I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to accumulate, and I want to have more and more and more. And it's like, no, stop. Don't fall into the trap of the world. The trap of the world. Of, I have to show you how wonderful I am by the size of my house, by my car, by my clothes, by this, by that. It's like, no, I'm a student of what it is I most sacredly value. I'm a student of my prosperity and my wealth and what I am desiring and how I'm moving this forward and where it is that I want to be and what it is I have been working towards and for and with. I am learning, I am understanding, and it is becoming clear to me. And we open up our eyes and we open up ourselves, and it leads us to the public arena where we have heartbreak and pain and disappointment and anger and upset. And what this is this is kind of like the king in the teeth, and it says, I can't. And then the Three of Swords is looking at the pain that we have been through, the hurt and the disappointment. It's looking at what's held us back our whole entire lives. Or where we walked forward in this bright-eyed innocence and we thought, yes. And then we realized, no, I'm not going to get to be happy like that. It's going to be harder. There's going to be horrors. There's going to be hurts. There's going to be pains. People are going to attack, and they're going to attack in just the right way. So I feel small and I feel insignificant. We look at these swords. These are the swords that stab into our hearts. These are the doubts and the fears and the angers and the upsets. And we release them. No, we don't release them. That's too flippant a way of saying it. We own them. We own the sword, and it becomes a weapon that we wield. We own the caregiver that didn't care. We own the teacher that told us we were stupid. We own the friends that betrayed us. We own the lover that betrayed us, that hurt us, that destroyed us. We own it. We look at it and we say, I never want to walk that path again, but I walked it. I walked it. And the paths that I walk don't make me less than who I am. Don't make me less than anybody else. They make me strong. And so I look at my heartbreak and my pain and my disappointment and my anger and my upset. And this can take a lifetime, but it doesn't have to. And I realize the power that came from these pains. And it moves me towards my dreams that I put on hold, that I put on the back burner because I was hurt, because I was scared, because I didn't know how to move forward with them, because they didn't seem like they were obtainable. And I'm able to dream again. And it might not be that we're able to go after our dreams right away, but we're kind of able to plan them, or we're able to look at them and not have them be these sacred things that we go to when the world gets hard. And we say, oh, well, when everything's perfect, which it will never be, I will have my dream to take out of the closet of my mind, to take out of the place that I stored it and I saved it. And I will be able to have that dream. I will be able to live that goal. I will be able to open my heart. I will be able to have what I love. No. It starts. It starts when everything isn't perfect. And it can be that, yes, we need to wait till life calms down a bit. We need to wait till our feet are stable on the ground. But we're always moving towards that dream, towards that hope, towards that desire. It's not something so cursedly far away anymore. And it moves us then to temperance, to balance. In the public arena, it's so interesting because our heartbreaks have robbed us of our dreams. They have. But our heartbreaks are also going to lead us towards a more profound realization of our dreams. And that starts bringing the balance. The balance also comes from the poverty that we have been through the chaos that we have been through. And then there's the foot on the water, the foot on the land, the sense of, which is very interesting, which is what gets us with the Aquarius energy here. The foot on the water, the foot on the land, the foot in the spiritual, the foot on the earthly. And then we start to balance the conscious and the subconscious, the desires and the hopes, the responsibilities and the wanting not to be responsible of anything. And we start to balance ourselves and what we want and where we're headed and who we are. And we embrace wisdom. We embrace our fire. We embrace our our passion and our love, and we embrace what can be done and what can't be done, and we start to see that everything comes at a cost. Everything has its payoff. Everything is, it is. And this brings in the balance to relationships. This brings in a balance to work. This brings in a balance to where we want to be. And it leads us then, as we start to see the balance, because we've seen the heartbreak. We know the heartbreak also all too well. And we know the dreams that we gave up on when we were small, the dreams that we gave up on once we entered into the real world, the dreams that people laughed at, so we hid away. And we start to balance it all. Find this dance. And then things start moving forward. Now, they might not move forward in the way that we want them to. We want them to move forward towards our dreams, right? And I don't see that happening right away. I see it moving forward and kind of snatching you up and popping you the exact place that you need to be, but not the place that you want to be. But there's a reason for it here. There's a power to it here. There's a passion for it here. Understand it. There's a lesson that is coming that has to be seen. Not through the eyes of others, not through the way the rest of the world will see it, but through the compassionate understanding of the heart and the powerful understanding of the passion that we have within ourselves to move us forward, to move us towards what is unknown, but what is greatly needed. So we get swept away in the public arena. Do not, okay? Because there's something here that is going to happen. And it's probably going to be around work or something we're very passionate about. Where we're doing something, we're like, I'm doing this so well. Like, go me. And then this chaos comes in. It wants to knock us off our high horse. It really does. It wants to see us fall. And they don't understand, or maybe they do, because some people do, understand that we've worked so hard to be able to celebrate ourselves. And there's jealousy, there's anger, there's hurt, there's resentment, and they just want to knock you down. And then it could be swept away. It could be a fight that gets swept away. It could be confidence that gets swept away. Be very mindful of this, okay? So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Because Taurus, this is a lot, but this is honest, and this is really quite pretty. All right, let's see. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly, guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels. Ooh, I love how your cards are just flying out one after the other after the other. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Communication is key. A personal issue reaches resolution. What do you need to release? Work through your fears, which is what this moon is all about and what we get pushed towards. It's time to give rather than to take. A new romantic cycle. Now, so communication is key, yes, because we're not going to want to communicate our fears with ourselves, with those around us. We can be acting very viscerally to something, okay, very instinctually to something, and we don't know why. It is because we're not communicating with ourselves the fears that we have known. It might be that we have always had the sense of having to leave or always having security ripped out from underneath us. It happened when we were children, okay? And because we learn our patterns when we're children, all right? This is what sets us up our whole entire lives. So people say children are very resilient. Yeah, well, they don't have much choice. Either they're resilient or they flounder. But all our scars, they come from childhood. So here, we have the sense of communication is key, because while I'm embracing my unity, while I think I have everything healed, I have this lurking darkness, okay, this lurking seed, like this little worm that's coming through, that wants me to remember that once everything failed, that once everything crumbled. So where we have the fear, where we have the sense of, I need stability, I need security, I didn't have that before, we will have our stability and our security ruptured. where there is the sense of, I need adventure, I need excitement. I've had such, the same old thing all the time. The excitement, the adventure will be compromised. So here we need to communicate with ourselves what we want so that we can be ready for when the darkness comes in and says, you can't have it. A personal issue reaches resolution. This conflict gets resolved if we turn inward. Okay, if we see what we want, if we see what we desire, if we look at things honestly, spiritually, and powerfully. If we also defend our hearts and not let people walk all over our emotions. What do you need to release? What is holding you back? What is the pain that has devastated you? Work through the fears. Because we have the power to. Taurus. Your energy. Okay, when people look at the tarot cards, okay, in the major arcana, they look at the Emperor. Oh, that's the most powerful card. The Sun. Oh, that's the most powerful card. Do we not realize that in medieval times, the Hierophant told the Emperor what to do? The Hierophant shone with the same brightness as the sun. He was chosen by God. This is important because it means that the power that we are born with is immense and cannot be hidden. And so we should not downplay it within ourselves, not being an arrogant, fool, but it is knowing that there is such power if we work through our fears. It's a time to give rather than to take. It's a time to give of ideas. It's to be that student, that give and that take, that learning, that excitement, that expression, that diving deeper. Give rather than take. But don't do it to the extreme. Don't do it, especially if the personality type is a giver, is the type of person who will always sacrifice themselves for everybody else. It's time to balance. It's time to gain an understanding. But it's time to share the knowledge and to see it grow. A new romantic cycle begins. We find our balance. Things start moving forward. A new romantic cycle does not mean that it has to be a love romance. It means, or a sexual romance. It means that we start falling in love. A new romantic cycle, a new beauty, a new balance, a new love, a new passion becomes a part of us and guides us forward. It moves us to our subconscious Luna message, which is meditate and contemplate. Meditation is so important. 20 minutes of quiet. If we can do it, 20 minutes of quiet. And just say, Divinity, guide me, and see what comes up in our minds as we sit in quiet contemplation. See what realizations come forward. See what, old hurts come up and the reasons why things happen, the reasons why the chaos was, and then the release from the chaos. It moves us then to go deeper into that subconscious message. Discernment. Discernment is important, especially if we're on the spiritual path. We're going to think, I have to do everything for everybody. I have to be spiritually kind and compassionate and understanding to everyone. But here's the thing. You wouldn't leave your door open and just walk out of your house. People would take all your stuff. And they could trash your house and, start living in it, calling it their own. If we lock our doors when we leave, why aren't we discerning with the energy that we let into our lives, with the people that we connect with on a daily basis? Some people we have to let go of. We just do. Some people we have to really lay down boundaries with. But it's also saying, it's fine to say, I don't like that energy of that person. I'm not going to let them into my energy bubble. Being discerning, being picky isn't bad. It's very interesting. Some people need a lot of people around them. I'm not one of those people. I have 3 friends outside of my family, but they're good friends, and I'm content with that. I'm very happy with that. I have a brother who has everybody around him all the time, and he looks at me and he's like, oh, it's so sad being you. But it's not. I look at him and I think, it's so exhausting being you. We need to do what's right for us, and we need to be discerning with the energy for each person on how to move forward, on where we want to be, on what we're discovering with ourselves. It moves us to our subconscious chakra message, which is relationships, which is the sacral chakra. It's building those relationships because we have the two of cups here. It's not only romantic relationships. It's family relationships. It's spiritual relationships. It's friend relationships. It's building those relationships. And the sacral chakra is where we hold the hurt. So the hurt from this life, the hurt from past lives, the DNA line, and it's like all the hurt goes into the sacral chakra, which is harsh because that's where our sexual energy is held. That's where our creative energy is held. And it's like, no, it's just going to be rotten. I'm just going to have the pain be there. It's like, no, I'm done with this. I'm done with this nonsense. Here, we start looking at relationships. We start looking at what we love. We start looking at what we desire. We start looking at what we need. We start looking at our hearts and our souls and ourselves, and we look at the pain that has held us back. But we start to strengthen these relationships with ourselves, with divinity, with our world, with what we want from life. And it moves us forward. It leads us then to our subconscious person message, which is the Queen of Wands. Fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, connecting us with the full moon, the eclipse supermoon of Sagittarius. This is a sense of, I can roll up my sleeves. I can go after what I want. I know what I desire. I'm not afraid of putting in the hard work. I don't need to have everybody looking at me. I got this. I got this. And my passion and my fire and my determination moves me forward. It then leads us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Magician. As above, so below. As I believe it, so it becomes. The mind is so important, always. We tend to forget that. What we dream of, what we look for, what we want within our lives. We think about. And it manifests within our existence. What we focus on, we will get. Blessings and curses. We see the passion coming forward. We also see the purity, right? We connect with the elements of ourselves. And we start to see that there's more to us than meets the eye. That we start to see that there's more moving us forward than we could have imagined. And the Magician guides us to greatness. The Magician is the first time we start to claim our power. And it connects with the High Priestess. And I love how the High Priestess connects with the Hierophant. So it's the spiritual here coming through. And she is the linchpin. She's the connector with all of it. Now, what's interesting, okay, if I can get this, okay, is that you have the High Priestess and the Magician. Older religions, okay? You have the High Priestess and you have the Hierophant. In the other deck, it is, the female Pope and the male Pope. These are more modern traditions, Christian, Catholic. So here, you have this bridge from an old world to a new world. From an old way of seeing things to a new way of seeing things. Spiritually, powerfully. We're going to be drawn to the very esoteric. We're going to be drawn to the ancient. And we're going to be drawn to the modern. And we're going to see the way that the two come together to make this, the way they come together to make this beautiful symphony of truth, of power, and of greater understanding. Oh, that's intense. That's really beautiful. All right, Taurus. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace this beautiful pink moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Taurus. And may you have a blessed moon.